The drama surrounding the Indiana Fever and Las Vegas Aces isn't just about wins and losses. It's about integrity, fairness, and the soul of competition itself. What began as an exciting playoff series quickly unraveled into a story of bias, frustration, and heartbreak, where the scoreboard felt less like a reflection of skill and more like the result of manipulation. Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, stood at the center of it all. Her voice trembling but firm as she called out the league's most glaring problem, officiating so one-sided it bordered on scandal. The Fever had become victims of a system that seemed determined to keep them in their place, no matter how hard they fought. It all started when Indiana shocked the world by stealing Game 1 in Las Vegas, punching the defending champions right in the mouth. That win should have been the turning point, a declaration that the Fever, once written off as a rebuilding team, were ready to rise. But instead of celebrating their resilience, something darker unfolded. Game 2 wasn't basketball. It was theater. Every drive, every rebound, every defensive stand from Indiana was met with an ear-splitting whistle. Meanwhile, Vegas, a team loaded with stars and backed by the league's marketing machine, played with impunity. They hacked, they shoved, they threw elbows, and somehow they kept getting rewarded for it. A -31 free throw discrepancy. Numbers that don't happen by accident. Stephanie White said it best. It's egregious. The Fever weren't out there chucking threes. They were attacking the paint, earning contact, and fighting for every inch. Yet game after game, the same story repeated itself. Calls that favored Vegas piled up so heavily that fans stopped counting. Even analysts, who usually dance around controversy, began to question what they were watching. "It doesn't even look like basketball anymore," one former player tweeted, echoing what millions were thinking. The WNBA's biggest stars were being handed wins instead of earning them, and that, more than anything, enraged Indiana fans who knew their team deserved better. The defining moment came in Game 3, the night that turned this series from controversial to outright scandalous. The Fever had built a narrow lead, driven by gutsy play from Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston. Then everything changed in seconds. Boston was called for a phantom foul on Jackie Young. Stephanie White immediately signaled for a review, a coach's challenge that every fan in Gainbridge Fieldhouse saw. But the officials ignored her. They simply refused to acknowledge it. Within seconds, Chelsea Gray hit a three-pointer, momentum flipped, and the Aces surged ahead. Fans erupted, booing louder than the whistle itself. The clip spread across social media like wildfire, proof of the growing suspicion that something was rotten in the WNBA, and that's when the floodgates opened. Replay breakdowns began surfacing online, exposing just how tilted this series had become. Aja Wilson shoving opponents under the rim without a call. Alyssa Smith getting whistled for phantom contact. Lexi Hull penalized for standing her ground while Aja Wilson set illegal screens on the other end. The double standard was impossible to ignore. Possession after possession, the Fever were punished for hustling while Vegas was rewarded for flopping. It wasn't about dominance. It was about protection, the kind that shields marketable stars and glamorous franchises at the expense of competitive balance. Yet, amid all that chaos, one player refused to fold. Lexi Hull, still nursing a painful back injury from Game 1, became the embodiment of Indiana's defiance. She wasn't supposed to be a difference maker. She wasn't even supposed to play heavy minutes. But instead of sitting out, she fought through every grimace, every collision, every moment when her body begged her to stop. She dropped 16 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and hit 3 massive threes, the kind of performance that should have been immortalized in Fever history. Every shot she made felt like a rebellion against the injustice surrounding her. Every dive for a loose ball drew cheers that shook the arena. Fans didn't just see a player, they saw a warrior, and yet her heroic night was overshadowed. Not by a loss she could control, but by officiating so blatantly biased it stole the narrative. While Lexi Hull was giving everything, Aja Wilson, the league's crowned MVP, was falling apart. She went 1 for 11 in the first half, missing shot after shot, completely locked down by Aaliyah Boston. For most of the game, she looked lost, shooting 30% on 20 attempts, an awful line for any player, let alone the face of the league. But here's the kicker. Even as she struggled, the Aces never paid for it. Every time the Fever gained momentum, a whistle stopped play. Every time Indiana got close to breaking away, Vegas was gifted another trip to the line. The referees didn't just influence the game. They dictated it. A'ja Wilson's poor performance should have been a story about defense, about Boston's dominance in the paint and how she forced one of the game's best into submission. Instead, the headlines bent the truth. Analysts praised Wilson's defensive presence and leadership while ignoring the 1-for-12 stat line that screamed otherwise. It was image control, plain and simple. Even Becky Hammon, Vegas's head coach, had the audacity to complain that Wilson only shot 1 free throw in 38 minutes. The irony was unbearable. The Aces had been living at the line the entire series, drowning in freebies, while Indiana was fighting uphill with every possession. To hear Hammon cry foul about officiating was like a thief complaining about being robbed. Her frustration resonated far beyond Indiana. Fans across the league echoed her anger, pointing out that this wasn't an isolated issue. Caitlin Clark had been getting hammered all season without calls. Boston had been battling double standards since her rookie year. The Fever's success, their surge in popularity, their swelling attendance, their rising TV ratings, had become inconvenient for a league that wanted its glamour franchises on top. The message was unmistakable. The WNBA wasn't protecting its stars equally. It was protecting its chosen ones, and that's what makes White's stand so powerful. She didn't just speak for the Fever, she spoke for every player who's been told to play through it when bias robs them. She spoke for fans who spend money, time, and emotion on a league that claims to value integrity, but keeps undermining it. Her words exposed something the WNBA desperately wanted to ignore: that the officiating isn't just inconsistent, it's compromising the credibility of the sport itself. When fans begin to question whether outcomes are real, the league is in dangerous territory. This controversy has now become a defining moment for the WNBA. The Fever's rise has brought record-breaking viewership, packed arenas, and renewed attention. But with that spotlight comes responsibility. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert can't afford to stay silent while coaches like White risk their reputations calling out corruption. Because if nothing changes, fans will draw their own conclusions. That fairness is negotiable, that outcomes are influenced, and that underdogs like Indiana never stood a chance. The Fever may not win this series, but they've already won something far greater: credibility. Their fight has revealed the cracks in a system that's supposed to champion women's sports, not exploit them. Stephanie White's honesty has forced a conversation the league can't suppress. And Lexi Hull's courage has reminded everyone what real competition looks like. The truth is, this isn't just about missed calls. It's about respect. For the game, for the players, and for the fans who deserve better than a rigged spectacle. Until the WNBA confronts its officiating crisis head-on, every whistle will echo with doubt, every game will feel tainted, and every victory will come with an asterisk. The Fever might be fighting uphill, but they're fighting for something bigger than a championship. They're fighting for the soul of basketball itself. Let us know in the comments if you believe the WNBA will finally clean up this mess. Should there be an investigation into officiating? Was Stephanie White right to call out the league? Share your thoughts, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories shaping the game.